Hello to those listening. This is an auditor here. And this time, I would like to talk about one of Bernie Sanders' positions. And it says on the screen, it's time to make college tuition free and debt free. Now, this is coming from the Bernie Sanders campaign. All links will be below, so you can check it out, read the information for yourself. But see, here's the thing about the college tuition debate. The thing is, I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. Because other industrialized countries have done the same thing. They have found a way to actually make college tuition either cheap or free for their people. And education is very important, especially when it comes to the progress of the American system for the country as a whole. I agree with them on that. But here's the problem. And I'm going to let Jerry Seinfeld actually make the point for me.
Worry you now. I've talked to Chris Rock and Larry the Cable Guy. They don't even want to do college campuses anymore.
I hear that all the time. I don't play colleges, but I hear a lot of people tell me don't go near colleges. They're so PC. Here, I'll give you an example.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Seinfeld. Now, in this interview, he was speaking about, like he said, college campuses. He's saying a lot of other comedians do not want to go to these places because of the culture of them. They find them offensive. And this is when I come to issue with Mr. Sanders' proposal. Even though I do agree on the spirit of his proposal, the actual application is the problem. You see, if a comedian, a person whose job is that of the modern day jester, a person you're not supposed to take serious, walks into a college and he inherently becomes ostracized because of what he says. He is rejected because his humor is not to your liking. That's where the problem lies. Because you see, I'm a taxpayer. There's lots of other taxpayers. We do not, nobody would want their money going to these institutions to teach these people to be offended. You may sit there and say, well, everybody's offended by something. And that's correct. But the thing is, in the college, if you're not really being offended, you're not growing. To be a well rounded education, you need to challenge the individual people. If you put these people into this small safety bubble where nothing they like gets to them, you don't grow intellectually. You're stunted. It is only through the conflict of ideas, the rejection of certain ideologies that an individual grows intellectually. Now, you don't actually have to grow. You can easily just ignore it. But if you're in a college environment, you're not going to be in the position to actually say, fuck that, no. Because you're in an educational environment, you're in an academic environment. They say, if you disagree with me, then show me some evidence that says I'm wrong, or give me your evidence of why you believe. And what that does is put you to work. It makes you have to think. It makes you have to gain knowledge. It makes you educate. Now, you may find information that says the person's right. You may find information that says the person's wrong. You can still disagree with them, or you can change your opinion. It doesn't matter. The point is, you did the work. You actually expanded your horizons, because maybe next time you may run into something you don't agree with. You may stop and think about it like, all right, you do your thing. I'll look this up. Okay, I still don't agree with you because I don't like you, but well, to each his own. Now, I'm not just going to sit there and just say I'm going to disagree with it. I have an idea that might actually be a lot more logically efficient. And this idea starts with summer vacation. You see, most people are under the misconception, like myself included, that the summer vacation actually came about because of agriculture. But when you stop and give it a little more thought, you remember that you plant in the spring, it grows in the summer, you harvest in the fall. So it wouldn't make sense for summer vacation to be in, well, the summer. Then when you look on this wiki article, links being below, you actually come to realize that it actually was designed for vacationing, vacationing families, and because people think children needed more time to play. Now, yay, that's what it's there for. But now let's take a look at this information right here. And this information right here, again, links below, it pretty much has the breakdown of average hours spent in a classroom in a school. It has averages of days for schooling. But right now, I want to deal with the averages right now. Now, the averages is about 180.4. I'm not really sure how you point for a day, but it's math. Let's go with it. And that averages out to around 6.7 hours. Now, for right now, we're going to focus on the days. Now, the one thing any person who's ever known a teacher knows is that time is a teacher's most valuable resource. And teachers have 180 days to teach. But that's actually not true. They don't really have 180 days to teach new concepts or new things. Because anybody who come off of a summer vacation like myself knows, you forget stuff. And then your teacher has to spend the next 5 weeks literally reteaching everything you've already most of you forgot. Hopefully it's not a very difficult concept because it can take even longer, but on average maybe about 5 weeks of reteach. Now that 5 weeks breaks down to about 25 days. So instead of having 180 days to teach, a teacher actually has 155. Now, one individual teacher who teaches multiple subjects has to take that 155 days at 6 hours. So, okay, let's say seven to round it up. 7 hours a day to teach maybe six, seven different subjects. Now, while doing that, they have to deal with the differences of intellectual absorption. Those who can absorb quickly advance. Those who on lower don't advance that quickly, and those in the middle are in the middle. But you only get a small segment to actually teach these specific things, and you have a specific amount of time. Not to mention other things when it comes to resources that the school has, because I know lots of teachers who literally buy supplies for their classrooms. Then you have to deal with parents. I've seen plenty of parents whose kids were 100% dead wrong, but because they're mad that they had to take off work to come there, they cussing out the teacher. I've seen that too. Because you see, in this day and age, well, not even a public school teacher. Well, I'm mostly I'll say public school teacher because private school teachers get a little bit more respect. But a public school teacher isn't just a teacher; they're a confidant. They're a mentor. They are protectors. There are so many other things besides being a teacher. But everybody critiques them on the 155 days that they on average that they have while trying to teach all these subjects and deal with all these other shenanigans. Now, this is where the summer vacation comes into play. Because the summer vacation is useless. It is pointless. It makes things more difficult. Because you may sit there and say, well, kids should have a vacation. So I say, we'll let kids have a flipping vacation. Matter of fact, I'll be nice to say they should have 2 weeks off. So The thing is this: you give them 2 weeks off out of that 12 weeks they normally get off. We still got 10 more weeks, which means we got an additional 50 days. Not to mention, we don't have to go back and lose 5 weeks out of the school year dealing with reteach. So what we just established here is that that 180 days has now just become 230. But I'm not just going to stop there because now teachers have time. Next is resources. We in this country waste lots of money on doing a lot of things that's not necessary. For instance, it wasn't too long ago where Congress passed this massive bill to build new aircraft carriers when the military said we don't need them. But most people realize that the people who really push it live in military heavy states or live in the manufacturing areas in which these people benefit. Therefore, that's why it happened. Yeah, we can stop that. And we can take that money and other money like that. And there's other places in the budget. I'm not going to go through the entire federal budget because that would take forever. But this is an example of money that doesn't need to be spent there. You can take that and start putting this money into resources. Beyond that, we do something a little bit different. Instead of having one individual teacher teaching one individual class every subject, how about we do the inverse of what happens in high school, where the kids get up and move? We can't do that with the smaller people because that's chaos. But we can have one teacher move to another class. You can have every individual school will have a consortium of the subjects. You have multiple math teachers, multiple English teachers, multiple reading teachers, and each of these teachers go to each individual class to teach individual students. And because they work as these small units, each of these teachers are all on the same page. So it makes no difference which teacher comes to which class, they're all teaching the exact same thing at that specific point in time. And when you put this kind of emphasis and focus on specific individual things, it allows for a child who may be embarrassed about having to ask for help. It makes it okay for him to ask for help now, because instead of him having to go to his general teacher who has to try to stop what she's doing now because she can't stop because she has to progress forward because she has all this subject to cover, now I'm coming to my math teacher with my math problem during the time of math. Or even when math is over, I can still find another math teacher to help me instead of having to talk to the general teacher and everybody saying ha ha and all that good stuff like that. And after that, we can take these things and improve upon them, make them better, more efficient. General education is supposed to be designed to allow people the skills and knowledge necessary to make it in today's society. That is what its purpose is. That is not what we have. And you may sit there and say, yeah, that's some good data, and that's nice and all, but how's it going to happen? Where is the leadership? And the leadership goes back to the man on the screen, Mr. Sanders. If Mr. Sanders was able to adopt the proposal I'm setting forth right now, instead of the college tuition one, he could then, because he would have the Department of Education at his disposal, this is where it comes from. It comes from the top, and we're bringing it down because the federal government is supposed to do for the people what it cannot do for itself. The people cannot formulate an educational system. The people cannot move the resources necessary for the educational system. But what the educational system has with the federal government is a head, a person who can say, this is the policy that we're going to run by. And with this power, he can take it and do things like, hey, these are the standards by which you can fire a teacher. Some people may say, I don't see the importance of that, but that is very, very important, because if you hear any of these politicians who are against it, first thing they say is unions come in, you can't fire a teacher, costs a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. This way, everybody already knows there are guidelines to fire a teacher. What you're saying to me now is a lie. You can't get rid of teachers. If you can't get rid of a teacher, that means that teacher did not jack up. You trying to trick me. And with these things in place, it allows people to gain more trust in the educational system. So let me wrap this rant up in a nice neat little bow. I do agree with Bernie Sanders about education. I disagree with the execution of giving it to these colleges because PC means closed mindedness. But take that same money, eliminate the summer vacation, give the teachers the greatest resource they need, more time. Use the Department of Education to say these are the guidelines by which you fire a teacher. These are the guidelines by which we will accept or unaccept a teacher. This is what you need to do. Bring people back to the educational system and put the trust back into it. And then, just by modifying the way things are done, give children more of a variety of people to be experienced around. You take these children and you put them in that PC educational system of college, and they're going to reject it. They will force every individual college to get rid of it because they're not going to tolerate it. They're going to come in saying, I'm here to learn. I'm not here to be offended. And on that note, this was an auditor here with the freest of speech. Thanks for listening.